them all. Like the fact that I bought this one first and then haven't read it yet, but literally was required to buy this cover because it matched this cover. Hey everyone, welcome back to Required Reading. Today is our second episode of what we are calling Pop Quiz. Pop Quiz are conversations about books that aren't really about books, but they are about topics that we end up, discussing, bickering about, and just wanted to share all of our musings. Today's topic is collect them all. This one came about actually because I was thinking about my childhood and specifically about McDonald's. And if you are a child of the 80s, you had the Happy Meals, and the Happy Meals came with toys. And literally on the side of the box, it said, collect them all. So I am blaming McDonald's for my addiction to collect them all. Regardless of whether or not I want, number 3, I still have to have that pristine collection. So we're going to go over a little bit of our thoughts, or a lot of our thoughts, about collections, about collecting them all, about series perhaps. Hopefully you find this interesting.
Yeah, so my question, and we just had a discussion about this, is what exactly do we mean by collect them all? So my mind went right to the subject, or my mind went to the notion of series.
Yeah.
Which you're like, that's not what I'm talking about at all. But so that brings up the question as to what exactly do you mean by collect them all, and what is a series to you?
Yeah. So a series to me is actually a book that has a continuing story. So it's kind of like a soap opera where, every episode is not a standalone. It's not its own story, but they're connected. There's cliffhangers and everything. So like a series would be like Sarah May's series, or some of the popular series right now. Or you had brought up Wheel of Time. That, and what was the other one? Oh, Lord of the Rings. Harry Potter, definitely. I have the first book here. I used to have them all in English, but I did give them away. I know, there's only so many books that you can have on your bookshelf, but this one is actually in Dutch. So I am currently trying to learn Dutch, and I wanted to give myself a little reward when I learn enough Dutch then to be able to read Harry Potter. But I don't know enough Dutch yet to read number 1, but this one, again, it's kind of in a series, but like for me, it's more about the cover. It's more about the packaging, collect them all. Like now I want to have all 7 books in this specific packaging series. And my life will feel incomplete if I do not purchase the rest of the 6 of the books. So that's kind of what I meant by collect them all, and again, not really series. And definitely your examples here, I wouldn't call them series either. So I know that you said like you immediately went to series, but you don't actually have anything that's in a series.
I don't have anything now. So I worked for Scholastic, and I did have the Harry Potter series hardcover because I got them like upon first release at Scholastic. I also had the Karl Ove Knausgård My Struggle series. So those were published in the US, all by the same publisher. I forget which one it is. I don't think it's Archipelago Books, but maybe a different publisher. And they all had a kind of a similar cover. So they all had this sort of like black and white picture of him at different stages of his life, of the author, because it's autofiction. And then with like a sort of white border and black wording, and they're actually really nicely designed, very simple.
So when I say collect them all, and there was 6 books in that series, say they're, like you were looking for number 5, you're ready to read number 5, but you could not find the cover or even the size that was similar to number 4, would you forego buying it at that moment?
Yeah, that's, it depends. It depends. To me, what matters the most is still actually the subject matter. So it's what the book actually is about. And not so much the packaging, though I do like good packaging. So for instance, I have these sort of Rome series. these sort of ancient books about ancient Rome, and they all kind of have. There's about 5 or 6 of these, and they all kind of have the same sort of binding and cover, and they're really nice. So I do really like them, and I like them to be uniform. But it's not as important to me as I think it is for you.
So if you got one of these in hardcover, so it's going to be slightly larger, even though the art is going to be the same, but now it's got a dust jacket, that wouldn't absolutely annoy you? To have it on the shelf and it's all different?
It would annoy me. It wouldn't keep me. It would annoy me. It wouldn't keep me from buying it, I guess. But it would actually kind of annoy me, and I would probably prefer to get the paperback version of the book. And by the way, for these particular books, the sort of again and actually it's funny because I'm reading this now. Anyway, I'm trying to see if it actually really is a series. But so like for instance, these particular books, the hardcovers are completely different.
Oh.
And so the hardcover can be totally randomly different.
But does the hardcover might be different than these, but is it different from each other? So if
they're different from each other as well. It's not
really
from what I've seen, it's not really.
Yeah, no, those would be one-off books for me. Then I wouldn't buy anything else.
But that actually brings up the other question. One of the things that I was thinking about is regarding buying books that are in a series. So I know what I think about that, but if there's a book that is in a series, is that something that would sort of make you buy the book, or is it something that would make you not buy the book? Would it
be that continuing storyline? I generally don't like series like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Harry Potter is definitely an exception to that. I don't know what else. I can't for the life of me.
Well, for instance, there's those, we're talking about collect them all.
Yeah.
Right? And recently, in the last couple of years, I think there's been these sort of Penguin minis.
These ones?
Not those, actually. They're paperbacks.
Oh, okay. So we got this one. Yeah. It is Penguin. The Great Ideas series. So there's over 100 of these though. So I'm not sure I could collect them all, really. Yeah. Even though they are very, very affordable.
Now is that a series? Because we were just saying that you think that a series.
Okay. It's not a series. Collection. There we go. A collection.
Okay. So I guess we're doing...
and these ones go actually from ancient authors. So this one again, Seneca. But it goes all the way through to more modern times. I think that there is, Virginia Woolf actually has Room of One's Own in this version. Sigmund Freud's in here. William Hazlitt, actually, I did want to purchase this one on our most recent trip to London, which we will be telling you all about next week or maybe the following week. William Hazlitt on the Pleasure of Hating. It just has such a great title. Mm-hmm. Anyways, yes. Okay. So the paper ones. Sorry. What was the question about that one?
That's gone. That's totally gone. What was my question?
I don't know. Well, what started this whole conversation? Okay.
I remember my question.
Okay. You remember. Go ahead.
My question was, are you compelled to buy a book? And I'm actually rephrasing the question so it's a little bit clearer. Are you compelled to buy a book because it's in a series? Or do you have an impulse to perhaps not buy a book because it's in a series and you can't maybe collect them all?
Okay, so on this one, if I want a book and it's in this format, I will absolutely prioritize buying this format of that book. But I wouldn't not buy, say, this book that I have, again, Seneca on the Shortness of Life. I wouldn't not buy this book because I wouldn't be able to buy all 150 of these. So
right.
I would prioritize the version or the package.
Yeah.
If this series had the title of the book that I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess, that makes me think, that's an interesting answer, and it kind of makes me think a little bit more about how I feel about it. So I had mentioned, again, in our conversations, that my tendency is, if a book is part of a series, I actually tend to not want to buy it. But that's not 100% accurate. So it depends, again, regarding the idea of collect them all. So, for instance, these sort of these Rome books, which I think, there's a few of these, like I said, And when I see them on the shelf, I'm often I'm like, oh, well, I'm interested in that one, but I'm not interested in the other one. But I might buy this one of these days, and that may be the case. And so in terms of the collect them all, I don't have the impulse necessarily to collect them all because it's more important to me what the book is about than necessarily whether or not it matches.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, I tend to like books that have a uniform sort of cover. So, for instance, speaking of it being impossible to collect them all is of course the Penguin, the Penguin Classics series. And I tend to buy books if they're in this format, because they're in this format.
Yeah.
Rather than say, for instance, in this format, and this is actually a really good example. So Crime and Punishment, which is part of our quarterly classic series that we're doing right now. So you bought this version of Crime and Punishment, but I actually bought, as you know, and I don't have it here, but I actually bought the Crime and Punishment that's this version. I think it's over there somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, anyway, and I did that because I really do like this format. They're all sort of the same size, all have the same, so that's really nice. But if they didn't have it, of course it wouldn't matter. Mm-hmm. I would have gotten that one. But if a book is part of a sort of series of books,
so like a continuing story,
a continuing story, especially in fiction, these days my impulse is generally not to buy them because there is something about I don't know if I'm going to like them, or you get caught up in this sort of long story that never ends, and you're just like, okay, then you sort of never finish the book in some way. So, for instance, again, going back to Carlo Veconoscord's My Struggle series. So I read, I think it's 5 books. So
6 total.
6 total. So I've read 5 of the 6 books. So I've read, I guess, 2,500 pages of this book. And then I just got really tired.
Yeah.
And the last book, which wasn't that well received for various reasons, is also one of the longest. And I'm like, oh God, do I read it? And I just haven't. And so I don't want to, and the same thing with, so the Robert Jordan Wheel of Time series books is another one. So I've read, I think, 4 of those books. And I think he's got like 12 books. And so I've read 4 books. Can I say that I've read them? And then there is also like the Game of Thrones, for instance. So I've read, I think, 5 of the Game of Thrones books.
But he only has 5.
He only has 5, but he's supposed to write like 2 more or something like that because the story isn't finished yet. Well, now, he's written 5 books. Will this ever be finished? Will he ever finish it? What will happen if he isn't around to finish those books? Am I going to read something that someone else wrote?
I mean, that's kind of like Stieg Larsson, the girl with the dragon tattoo, and that he wrote the first 3, even though I think it was supposed to be a series of 7, maybe 12. No, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And so, there was other authors that sort of finished the series based off of loose manuscripts that they found, but it just wasn't the same. I didn't read past the 3rd one.
Yeah, it's just not the same. And you have that.
But even that, I wanted the same covers. And I actually had a galley of the first book. So it was paperback, it was like newsprint, how galleys are printed.
Yeah.
And then I had the hardcover of number 2 and 3. And it made me mad because my books didn't match.
Yeah. And that can be a bummer in that case. So in terms of like the actual reading, there's the issue of the story not being completed. And it seems like in mysteries, or crime or mystery, I guess, because the Stieg Larsson stuff kind of falls into that realm maybe.
It definitely falls into crime and mystery, but like I was saying earlier, yes, there's a continuing story, but also each one of those books has its own story that is wrapped up within the confines of the book.
It stands alone. Yeah. So I guess, I tend to maybe avoid those books, but books that are also, the other thing is if the book is numbered. So that's another thing that I tend to sort of to avoid is if you have a collection of books and those books are actually numbered. So, this one,
82.
Yeah, I don't see it.
No, number 1.
Number 1. So like, okay, so you have number 1. This actually makes me not want to buy them because I'm not a completist. So if there's 100 books...
Is that a term?
It is a term.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there are 100 books, there's no way I'm going to buy all 100 copies of this. And so if
Well,
they're
not copies, but
or I'm sorry, yeah,
100.
different books in the
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
If there's a number, then I actually tend not to buy them because there's something to me very strange about that. And so the tendency for me is, to not do that. If they're numbered, I probably will not buy them. Because
Well, what started us off on this entire conversation was actually, about almost 20 years ago, I hosted an event with Robert Thurman, who is, yes, the father of Uma Thurman. But this book is on anger. He is actually, I don't think you're an ordained monk. Oh, gosh. Anyways, he's a monk. I don't know, again, what the process of that is.
Yeah.
But I was really intrigued. I was like, oh, anger. That's cute. It's, a nice little book, 7 Deadly Sins series. And I noticed that it was put out by Oxford University Press. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then I found that there was another one in the series. I don't know which one actually I found. But then I realized, again, 7 Deadly Sins. Okay, well, there's got to be 7 of them. And so, I had to buy them all. And I'm sorry, Robert Thurman, I haven't actually read about anger. Maybe I should. But I did read Sloth, Wendy Wasserstein. And I haven't actually read any of the other 5 either. But they look really nice on my shelf. And again, I was just addicted and I had to collect them all. Like, it wasn't good enough that, okay, I have this one cute book and maybe I bought the second cute book. But no, I actually had to have them all. Maybe I should read Greed, actually. But I had to have them all, and they have to be next to each other on my bookcase, and they have to just, be there. We were talking again earlier about not necessarily series, but there was a book by Amelia Hart that was published in 2023 called Wayward. I think it came out in April 2023. Now, this is a different cover than what was online being talked about. So I can't remember which review site I was on, but it was a slightly different color or cover. Then they didn't have that at the store. So I was like, okay, well, that's fine. I'll buy this one. Read it. And then I really liked it. It was fun. And, a couple days read. It was nice to immerse myself in that environment. And I noticed then a couple years later that she has a new book out called Sirens. So I bought Sirens, and it's a different cover theme. Now, I have since learned that there is Sirens in this cover theme, but there's also Wayward in the original cover that I originally saw that I thought was nice that matches this cover. So, that makes me a little mad. And they don't live on the same bookshelf because of that. This one lives in the living room. This one lives up here. I don't want them to come near each other because they're now competing.
All right. So what's your take? Are you a person who's driven by buying books that have similar covers, or does that not matter to you, and are you more focused on the content of the book?
Or are you also a child that was ruined by McDonald's and you have to collect them all, even though you're probably not going to read them all?
Until next time.
If you made it this far, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you are notified of any upcoming episodes. It's free for you, but it means the world to us.